Good evening.
Do it, yeah. Alright.
Because that's my favourite line ever. You know, like, when he slides down the little ramp, he's like, good evening.
I don't know what you're referring to. That's right. Alright.
Can you edit it so I say it and then it cuts to that and then we go to the podcast?
I can probably do that,
Yeah. Good evening. And then it will cut to that. And then we'll go, episode 10, is it?
It is actually episode 10, yeah.
That wasn't it. That was me starting. Really. Welcome back. Another episode. Episode X.
Nice.
Latin.
It's Roman numeral.
Damn it.
Latin.
Cool. Well, anyway, welcome back to another episode. It is episode 10 of the Coulworld podcast. The coldest of podcasts around. I'm trying for a motto. It's not working out.
Yeah, I was going to say, people are going to get confused and think it's called the Cold World podcast.
Yeah.
I already started the myth that it's the Cool World podcast because I started calling it that and then other people started calling it that. I think Druzy still calls it Cool World.
God damn it.
I don't know. He's like our only fan. So, hey, Druzy.
OnlyFans.
This has been a great start.
Yeah. But what's on the agenda today, young Jesterbarn?
Well, at the moment, I'm currently deleting what tastes like 50% vodka, 50% Diet Coke because I'm going to a party this evening.
And I got Biltong. Not a sponsor, just some jerky.
And boy, did we.
Ugh.
Yeah, you do. Every time we do go get beers, you end up buying some beef jerky, which a lot of people find disgusting. But
I like it, yeah.
Yeah, 62 grams of protein in 100 grams of meat. That should be my Tinder bio.
And, nice. And then the end can be you do the math. And then it's got pretty much not much of anything else. It's got 4 grams of fat, 2 grams of carbohydrates, 1 gram of sugar. So yeah, it's basically all protein.
It's a bodybuilder's dream, really.
But,
yeah, and you've deleted that all yourself. So you've
it's supposed to serve 3 people.
Yeah, you've had a good 70 grams of protein in you.
About that, yeah.
Yeah, that's cooked.
Yeah.
That's good. It's like 2 protein shakes.
I'm actually going to the gym later tonight, so that'll help.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
He says as he drinks a beer.
Oh, no. I'm not going, am I?
You started a little fitness challenge, haven't you?
Yeah. So my work has teamed up with Volt Fitness to give us a corporate 6-week challenge. It's quite cool. So basically, it's pretty much just like we do like body scanning at the start. Body scanning in terms of like tells you what your body fat percentage is, what your metabolic age is, what your body mass index is.
BMI is a bit questionable, hey? Because I think it purely looks, and not to take away from what you're saying, but it purely looks at the your height to weight ratio, which is
not right.
El Stanco.
Yes, because a guy at my work is like one of my good mates who I sit next to. He's like 100 and like just what's 6'3", 180,
190.
Yeah, he's not 6'3". What's 6'1" then?
185.
Okay, so he's about that 185, and he's like 85 kilos. And we're literally having this discussion because he's like, technically I have the same BMI as like AFL athletes, but I'm nowhere near an AFL athlete.
Yeah.
And that's why it's
Doesn't
like, he would get the same BMI as them. And it's just like completely incorrect. Like, I don't think it's something that you can really measure off. Particularly because like especially because like muscle weighs way more than fat. So technically a guy who's like really lean and has this muscle on him will get the same BMI as a guy who's like a lot bigger, a lot fatter, can have more fat percentage around him, but still have the same BMI. Yeah. It's like completely just makes it obsolete. Like, why is it even important?
I think my dad's on the upper end of like, he's right on the verge of being overweight, but if you see my dad, he's about 6'1", but he's big. Like, he's really broad. Like, he's quite muscly and doesn't have...
I was going to say, he doesn't have like fat on him or
Not really. No, I mean, like, he's 67, so obviously there's going to be a little bit of fat. But generally speaking, he's probably got a better rig than me. But he's on the overweight side of things as well. So. Yeah. But yeah, anyway, you were saying...
So they did that at the start. And then we also do like... it's just like a circuit challenge. And it's like you just got to get the fastest time. And basically what it is, it's 500 metres row, 30 push-ups. 500 metres run... 10 pull-ups, 40 calories on the bike, 50 calories on the bike and 50 squats, bodyweight squats.
I like the calorie targets on cardio stuff because it's like you can choose to do it as fast as you want, and the harder you work, obviously, the quicker you finish.
For sure. And you can also do it so you can either have really low resistance, but you can pedal faster, or you can go really high resistance and you can just like sort of just try and battle through it and just stomp it out.
Yeah.
And you get there. Like it's all I can't think of the word right now, but it's all based off that. So it's all like I'm really struggling with this. It's all relative.
Okay,
it's all relative.
Yeah,
so like,
right.
It's like there's no benefit in going like a really light. There's no benefit to going like really light and trying to go really, really fast.
Yeah.
Or there's no benefit to going like a high resistance and trying to do it like and doing it really slow. Like it's all relative. It like you get there the same way. It obviously just goes off the calories. So that is good, I think, as well.
That is good because if you just said 10 minutes on the bike, then anyone could choose their own pace.
You just go like completely high resistance and just literally and with those bikes, once you get them up to a certain speed and like just put the resistance off, it pretty much just starts pedaling itself. Like you can literally just sit there and rest. And
really?
Like, your feet are strapped in, so your feet just go with it.
Yeah. Okay.
But at least with this, it's more measured, but it hurts. It's tough.
Yeah.
So we do that, and then after I think we do it again. Week 3, so halfway through, and then we do it again, obviously week 6.
Yeah.
And the goal is that everyone should be better off.
What are your fitness goals at the moment?
So I'm at 15% body fat. I want to get to 10 or close to 10. I don't care if I don't hit 10 on the dot, but I'd like to get that down closer to 10 because I feel like 10's a good spot. I did the circuit in 12 minutes 40. I definitely cruised through it. I didn't like go my absolute hardest. I didn't put myself in any like real misery in terms of like pain, because I had no idea. I've never done circuits like that before. I've never done circuit training or anything like that. I don't go to F45. I don't do any of those. So like I have no idea what a circuit training is like.
Yeah.
So I really just cruised through it. There's things that I could definitely, if I did it a day later, I could beat that time again because there's things that I know like, okay, well, let me push harder on that. Let me ease back on this, and I know that I could get a fast time. So basically, I want to get under 11 minutes. I want to get 10 minutes something. I want to be close to 10% body fat by the end.
Yeah, that's pretty ripped, hey? 10%.
But I'm doing it like 6 week properly, so I'm eating really clean.
Yeah.
Just sort of committing to like the 6 week time frame.
That's cool.
See how I come out at the end of it.
Yeah, sweet.
The worst thing that happens is I try my fucking hardest. I eat really clean. I do all this shit. I don't quite hit the goal, but I'm in a good routine and a good rhythm to carry it on further. So that's more of it, is like just adjusting it and just trying to use this as like motivation, use the competitiveness as motivation to switch into that sort of gear, which is where I want to be anyway.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, fitness is really important. Do you find fitness like is important to your mental well-being?
It's hard to say because I've never really not done fitness.
True.
The only times I've not done fitness is when I first started this job and I was just too wrecked to do it.
Yeah.
But all my life I've done a lot of sport. I can't say that I've like really experienced a period where I've just been lazy and sat around. I've always been busy. I've always had things on. That when I first started my job and I was like not going to the gym, I was still working like 9 to 10 hours a day.
Yeah.
So I was still coming home and still like busy and doing things that I've never had that time where I've just like, and to be honest, this is the worst I've ever looked in my life. So a lot of people would look at that and be like, you look great, you look fit. So I've never really let myself completely just go.
Sure.
What about you?
Yeah, for sure. I at times have, there was a time in my early 20s where I let myself get pudgy, but generally speaking, that was kind of due to other factors. Generally, I always had a passion for the gym. I think I was in the shape of my life right before I started True Footy. And then the time spent making videos kind of just took up the time spent at the gym. Nowadays, I have a bit more time to do everything, which is good. So I'm in about a 5 to 6 day routine at the gym at the moment. You wouldn't tell just by looking at me. But I'm going pretty hard at the gym, doing all the compounds. I'm very weights focused, so I don't do cardio. I'm not built for it. That's my excuse.
Yeah.
But and at the moment, I've sort of set the goal of trying to gain lower body mass because that's something I've actually never focused on before. So other than that time in like 2017 where you and I were going to the gym and lifting heavy and we were like deadlifting like relatively heavy, that was the only time I'd focused on trying to get bigger legs.
Yeah.
But I've been going to the gym for like 10 years, and that's like a 6-month period where I was like, yeah, I trained legs properly then. And it shows because personally I'm like quite a light person for my frame. I've talked about it before.
Yeah.
Because I'm about 190 centimeters, 6'3". Generally speaking, kids who get drafted these days to the AFL at 190, admittedly they're not all shredded, neither am I though, and they're all heavier than me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I think for me, I'm just at the moment setting myself a challenge of like, how big and strong can my legs get and build my core, just because I've never done that before, and that's exciting to me. So
yeah. I think that's the main thing, is more the core. So like a lot of deadlifts, squats are obviously important, but I think a lot of it does come from deadlifting.
Yeah.
Deadlifting's like really, really important, just to build that sort of core, that sort of glute, and also like the sort of like side hip sort of area, like building it all through there, and then obviously like a lot through that core. I think that's like where a lot of people hold a lot of weight.
Yeah, that's true. I think it's it's underrated because they say that your vanity muscle is like your upper body. So like people train chest and arms to look good as well.
Yeah.
One thing I'm kind of noticing as well, listening to girls talk, is that being like thick through that lower leg and like glute region is actually like girls like that as well. Oh. So I reckon if I had to give advice to a 16-year-old me,
it's deadlift.
Deadlift and squat more at a young age than not just because I want a big butt, but that's probably something I would probably wish I'd probably
I want
started
a wagon.
Earlier. A what?
The new phrase is like they call it a wagon.
Oh,
so like if a girl's a big butt, they'll like she got a wagon.
A dump truck.
Yeah,
I don't like the term dump truck. It has other connotations. But
take a dump truck over the chest.
Exactly. That's a little good segue into the topic we kind of wanted to cover today. We talked about this a while ago, and the general concept was, what would the 16 to 17-year-old version, so we're both 26 at the time, I've turned 27 subsequently, which sucks, but we're looking back and like, what would the 10 years ago version of you think if they looked at your life now based on the expectations you had then? Because we're sort of approaching that age, and this occurred to me, like, the guy that you pictured yourself, the man you pictured yourself being growing up, like, that's us now.
Yeah.
There's no. I mean, obviously, we all still have growth and development to go, but like, this is it. We're not developing. We're not young rookie draft pick prospects anymore. Like, we're the real deal. Like, this is it. So, I guess. What would you say?
Pressing note on it all, but
no. It's important to realize that, because it's like life is here, right now.
More for like the appreciation of it.
Yeah. What were you like as a 16-year-old? So that's 10 years ago.
Reckless, ignorant, I would say.
You've come so far.
I was just super reckless in terms of like things that I would do at 16. Like, I used to skate a lot, so I used to like just do nuts things and put myself in very, very dangerous situations.
What are nuts things?
These. No, but yeah, I'd just do like very reckless stuff, like tricks, and like try and put myself in very dangerous situations. Things that I just wouldn't do now. Like, I'd be like, I have too much to lose to like hurt myself doing something like this.
Yeah, true.
Also just very like naive, and like I'd also say ignorant as well. Wasn't really like aware. Wasn't woke.
Yeah. What were your values at that age?
At 16, it's kind of tricky. You sort of fall like you're still in that school sort of era, so being popular is a big thing. Being liked by all your peers is a big thing.
For sure.
I was also just starting to like develop in the sense of like starting to get decent at football for my age bracket and where I lived.
Were you not decent before that age?
Not really, nah.
Okay.
Nah.
What changed?
Got better late. I think
just physical development.
Yeah. I was always like really small. Always had a decent kick, but I think I started like committing to it really hard around 16. Actually before 16, I sort of like committed to it like probably 14, 15.
Yeah.
So I started like committing, doing extra sessions, and just focusing my time and efforts on it a lot more, investing a lot more into it.
Interesting.
But yeah, when you look back at what I was like 16, it was very, I obviously like girls probably ruled my life a little bit more than what they do now. I mean, definitely did. I don't really have much time for a lot of that these days. Not that like I don't like girls or anything, but like you would spend a lot more time like texting a girl and just like you'd give them way more attention than what I would now.
And like the way you're perceived by girls will influence your self-worth, like your self-concept. Definitely. That's true of a lot of people.
So even that, just like your peers liking you in general, I think just influence a lot of that.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, what about you?
Well, I was like a really gangly, nerdy 16-year-old. Like I was a very, very, very skinny kid. Hey,
really?
I picked up the gym around that age, at 16, 17. Yeah, so I don't know, like I would have been 6'2" and about 62 kilos or something like that.
Fuck.
So yeah, real skinny. Just I've got some videos I can show you later, but I was watching it, like my arms were like the width of this tripod, which the viewers
It's funny because you wouldn't really tell now. Like if you looked at yourself now, you wouldn't be like, imagine that you would have been super skinny as a kid. You would have thought like, oh, he's a pretty big dude. Like he holds some thickness and girth.
Well, you're not wrong on that, Cam. No, that's true. So I was skinny and probably quite insecure actually about being skinny, which is something I'm kind of grateful that I put in the hard yards at the gym. Not that I'm like big now, but like I worked hard to get to this point, and I'm glad that I did, because now I never walk into a room and feel skinny or insecure. You know what I mean? So like it kind of ties back into the gym being really good for you. I get mental well-being, but also like just your confidence. Yeah, it's not about feeling like an alpha, but it's just like I worked on an insecurity, and now it's not there anymore, which is good. At 16, 17, I was living in Abu Dhabi at the time, and I was a real Jim Halpert type of student, or at least the way I'll say that is because I love The Office. For those who don't know who Jim Halpert is, he's the Jim out of the Jim and Pam combo. So he was like kind of my man crush, kind of my idol. And so I used to just be like...
You used to watch The Office back then?
Yeah.
Really?
I've been watching The Office since like 06 when it came out. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, I was one of the really early birds.
I reckon I watched it like 2018.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's quite late. I knew you got onto it late, but I didn't know it was that late. Yeah, no, I rode The Office through like... when the seasons were still coming out, like from virtually the beginning, like season 2, which is like 06, so maybe 05, but anyway, so he was my idol. So I was just I had the sort of scruffy hairstyle, and I would try and make a Dwight out of all the other kids at school, just like take the piss out of them as well. So I was kind of
their staplers and jelly and whatnot.
All those things. And yeah, probably not the nicest kid, to be honest.
Because you're making them Dwights?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I outwardly bullied people, but I definitely put making a joke above other people's feelings, like well-being.
Yeah.
Which is something I regret, but that's something you learn from.
Yeah.
I never beat anyone up, which is a good start, but I definitely made people the butt of the joke, which is, it's high school, you know, we all make mistakes. And I kind of grew out of my athletic phase. I was like good at sport when I was a kid. Grew tall, and when I was 14, I was short. I was one of the shortest in my year. And then by 13, and by 14, I was one of the taller ones. Grew to like 6 foot, and I completely lost my ability to play sports that involve the ball being below my knees.
Did you, through that year, did you stop playing those sports, or were you playing those sports as you were going?
I think I played it a bit, probably not as much, but I do think there was a factor where I, like, for instance, in Bunbury, I won't say one of the best at soccer, but I had a sort of a natural gift for it, like in terms of like ball control and stuff like that. And I definitely lost that when I grew taller, like, because obviously you're just a bit further from the ground. Everything's a bit worse. So I played cricket. Probably going on a tangent here, but sport kind of. That was probably the age I transitioned from playing sport to watching sport and obsessing over it. And now I have a YouTube channel dedicated to watching sport. So, yeah, that was me.
Full circle.
Yeah. Happiness.
It is funny that you made that trip, that you went through that transition, though, from like, you got obsessive over sport when you watched it more instead of playing it more.
Yeah.
I was the opposite. So I was obsessed with the sport as long as I was like deeply enrooted in playing it. As soon as I lost passion for playing it. I lost passion for watching it and no longer had that obsession over it.
I find there's a relationship between kids who actually are good enough to get drafted or go close. They generally stop following a team and they look at individuals and they try and model their game off it. And as a result, they kind of lose passion for the team. The fan experience is completely different for someone who's actually good at it.
Right.
Probably because at some point, maybe you can answer this, you start to think of it more as work and your craft and you're working at it a bit more.
Yeah.
Whereas for me, football was always a release from like the rest of my life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, yeah. I mean, you were a pretty passionate Geelong kid, right?
Yeah, very.
And whereas now you're relaxed at it. You probably just,
I could miss a game and I wouldn't even know.
Yeah. See, I did that with cricket. Not that I played extremely high level cricket, but like we played some international games. I was lucky enough to do that. And we would play like every weekend night, like both nights. And as soon as that happened, I was like, I'd rather have a girlfriend. And I've never followed cricket to the same extent since.
Yeah, it was, so I was like two sports. So I was football in the winter and basketball in the summer. And played like pretty high level for both of them, like represented Gelton in both sports. Like when I was 16, I like was in like the state under 16s basketball team in the squad. I got cut right before the team.
Circumcision.
Yes. So I was injured. And then obviously football. But when I got to, I was about 16 years old. I had to, or it was actually younger than that. It was 15, so like 14 going into 15. I got invited to be a part of the East Fremantle development team, under 16 development team. So all through 16 or 15, playing under 16s, like, you play for 2 years. All through that, I was playing, I was training all year long. So I think I would have 3 weeks off a year. Other than that, I was training football 3 nights a week. If it was off-season, training 4 nights a week. And then in season, I was playing 2 games. I was playing Saturday in Gelton, and on the Sunday, me and Dad would get in the car, drive 5 hours to play at East Fremantle to play, just come back to go to school on the Monday. So doing that for like 2 years.
Were you having fun?
Yeah, loving it at that stage. This was when I was so into it.
That's cool.
This is when I was so into it. And then like went through all the transition of like coming to Perth, playing for East Fremantle, going through that stuff. And then it was around like the time when I got to like 22. I just like, I could just see like it's not going to happen. Like I'm definitely not going to get drafted. Like if I was going to get drafted, I think I was going to be like the player that got drafted as a 18-year-old.
Yeah.
I don't think I was going to be like a mature age, because if to be a mature age, you feel like you need to be like AFL ready. So you need to come in and be able to like hit the ground running. And for that to happen, I feel like you're generally going to be a decent size. They're not going to draft like an undersized sort of outside midfielder as like a mature age.
Yeah.
Just because like it never fucking happens anyway.
Yeah, unless they're like an extremely good athlete. Isaac Smith was actually like that.
Yeah, but he's pretty tall.
Yeah, true. So like 22 was kind of the age that you realised that your AFL dream was probably not going to happen, or at least that's when you stopped wanting to play football as intensely, right?
Yeah.
So, but going back to the topic question, at 16, was the AFL you at that age, you were already thinking about trying to make a career in football?
Mm-hmm.
What would the 16-year-old now who, like looking, by 16 you'd probably finish high school too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd already left high school, so uni probably hadn't entered your mind at 16. What do you think the 16-year-old version of you would think looking at your life now? What a weirdo.
It's kind of weird though, because I feel like at 16 you overestimate what life is going to be like at 26. So you overestimate like the level of success that's normal for a 26-year-old. You overestimate the level of maturity that you would have at 26. Like when you're 16, 26 seems like a grown adult that like that you would picture like you own this massive house. You might have this like porn star looking model for a wife, like women of that caliber, or like you might, and like you probably have like kids. Like that's, you sort of underestimate how little everybody has it.
Yeah.
together, how little everyone has their life together at those ages. You see them at 26.
It's an idealistic.
And you assume that, like, they have their life together, this is that. Like, and and then so when you get to it, you sort of realise that everyone's just faking it. Everyone is just sort of, like, out here just going day by day, just like, hey, man, don't know. Like, haven't got answers for you. I don't know what's going on, really. Like, I'm just trying. Like, that. I think, like, you get to the age and then you realise that that's really what it's like.
True.
And you need to be comfortable with it, otherwise life's going to be horrible for you.
Did you ever feel as a kid that you were special? Like you were made for something more a little bit? I kind of did. Not in an arrogant way, but I feel like, like sort of along the lines of what you just described. I think my parents had sort of built that into me, was like, it was always going to end up okay. Like I was always going to end up rich with, happily married with kids. Do you know what I mean? Like I just felt like, doesn't matter what's happening to other people, that will happen to me. Did you ever feel like...
I think I was like, to go back to what I was like at 16, I was just like too naive to even consider that stuff.
Right, yeah. Weren't thinking too far in the future.
I just really was. I was firstly slow to like physically develop.
Yeah.
But I was even slower to mentally develop and like emotionally develop.
Yeah.
I was like, had a lot of anger issues when I was younger.
Is that right?
Used to lash out a lot, just like...
Oh, I guess that's kind of normal. I had my phase around that about 13. I was like really viciously angry, like around the hormonal phase.
Yeah. I was, I'm talking even before that. So I was like a really aggressive, like primary school kid.
Oh, okay. So over an extended period of time. Yeah. Mine probably lasted like
my whole life.
A year or two. Yeah.
When I used to get mad, I used to do this thing where I would like tuck my toes under my feet and stomp on them.
Huh.
And like it was like a release, like that pain, that anger used to just like, that's what I used to do. This is like when I was like 4, 5, 6. I used to do that kind of stuff. I was just like had a lot of temper issues. Used to just like get set off, and when I did, I just used to go nuts. I don't want to like paint the picture like I was like an aggressive psycho, because like my parents did a good job in like in just like instilling in me like. I definitely knew where the lines were. I never crossed the lines. So, for example, while I did have those issues, and those issues mainly were at home, when I went to school, I never got suspended, never got expelled. I don't want to paint myself like I was this like aggressive kid that was like at school just causing terror. I had a lot of respect for like my teachers, had a lot of respect for like my superiors, I guess. But yeah, I just like took a long time for me to like emotionally develop and just mentally develop as well as physical. Obviously, like I said, took a bit for me. Yeah,
that's true. Yeah, it's you, because like the person you described at 16 who didn't want to finish high school, didn't want to go to uni because you were like, imagine signing yourself up for more school when I've just got to the end of it. That was literally
like the quote for me at 16. It was like, if you do 12 years of school, why the hell 12 years of school where you have to do it? Why would you like off your own back want to sign up for more? Like why would you want to do more school? Yeah, I was just like so against it. I just had no interest at all.
What do you think the 16-year-old you would think, looking at the fact, like if you went up to them and said, at 26 you have a degree and you have a graduate job working as a property valuer, and you know football is not really your biggest focus right now, what do you think that version of you would say? Oh, what the fuck?
No, I don't. I think I'd believe it. I think I'd believe it, but I think the football thing would suck. I think it would hit me a lot more.
Yeah, okay.
Because I was just really obsessed with football back then.
That's cool.
But as far as everything else, but I get like, it's hard to say because back then I really didn't have like any interest in business yet either. The business interest came a lot later in life.
Yeah.
So I think if you said like, oh, you studied business and like, you know, property value, I think I don't know. I just don't think I'd be that interested in it back then. It's sort of taken that maturity to sort of see that path and sort of want to like pursue that a bit more. But that also tied into like why when I stopped liking football was when I really started to enjoy my degree a lot more.
Yeah.
So the moment that I started to enjoy my degree and I started to get like a kick out of my degree, I really like the football passion really lost it, and football just became this thing that I did. But then the degree was the thing that I'd fantasize about. Yeah. Where prior to that, I would fantasize about football. I would like think about like playing at the MCG, like all those kinds of things. Like you know, you'd go to the park and like I would in my mind I'd have like Dennis Cometti commentating me like in a grand final, like kicking the game sealer goal. But then like once my degree started becoming it, then like I started fantasizing about being out of the degree and fantasizing about being involved in business and just having that. And I think it went from like just wanting to be like the best footballer and like sort of prioritizing that sort of scene, the football scene, like girls loving you, like being on TV, playing, being this alpha. That stopped a bit. I stopped prioritizing that and I started prioritizing, I guess, like intelligence, and that started to become the thing that I wanted instead. Instead of just wanting to be this like gun footballer that everyone loved, I started being like, I want to be that intelligent guy that everyone goes to for questions, and then like people look at him and say, I want people to say like he's switched on, not just like, oh, he's a great footballer. Yeah. And it's my priorities sort of did like a weird swing, but the swing only took about 6 months to happen. And I'm very like that. Once I just make my mind up on something, it's sort of within a quick transition, it changes, and now that's the thing that I'm into. Yeah. And the other thing is like, I have no time for that anymore. And I think that's just what happened. It really just took a swing. Like, I think I just like my emotional and mental intelligence or emotional and mental maturity just like really cemented itself finally, and just like it hit a spot where I was just like looking around and looking at people and what, like, where did I see myself? What did I want to like be known for? And just made that switch, and that's where like I was probably like second year uni, and I was like, no, this is the thing that I like now. Interesting. And just from that point on, it was like football just never really. I never looked back. I don't regret anything with football. I kind of fucked away like my first football chance when I come down for Eastern Man or for Colts. I was like playing really well, and I was like had a few people that were held me in pretty high regard. My coach was one of them, and I injured myself. I said this in like previous ones, but injured myself for the short story. Went back to Geraldton. I went back to Geraldton and immediately started playing in Geraldton again. Got a call up when they were in the grand final. I got a call up when they were going into the finals, and coach was like, I want you to come down. I said, nah, I don't want to do it. He's like, all right, well, I'll call you later. Called me for the grand final, literally wanted to come down and play for the grand final. Said, look, one good game, we can still make this happen. And I was like, nah, didn't want to do it. So I sort of like pissed away that, but it's funny because a lot of people would like regret that. But I have no regrets towards that, because now I'm at this age and I know that football wasn't it for me. Yeah, I liked it, and because I liked the challenge, and I still like challenges. And at that stage, fitness was the only real challenge that I could put myself through. Yeah, because I wasn't like mentally mature enough to go through university or to go through those sort of things. I needed that time, and like I still loved the challenge, but I just feel like physical challenge was the only thing that I could really excel at or succeed at. So that's why I sort of boxed myself into that, and I boxed myself into that football life. Like, all right, well, this is the thing I'm going to be successful at. Then I got older, then I felt like I could take on those mental challenges. I feel like I was like, I'm grown enough to handle that kind of stuff now. And so once I sort of got a taste of it, and I went to uni and I got through my first semester, and I was like, it wasn't fucking too bad. Got through my second semester, and I was like, actually, I did better than the last semester. Then obviously when you study business, you do the first year is like just general business stuff. Your second year onwards is when you start to specialize in what you majored in. Started to do a few property things, and then once I sort of got a taste for that, and I did well in like my first couple of assessments, I was like, nah, like the physical stuff just isn't it for me. Like this is the stuff that I'm going to get a kick out of.
Do you think part of that is like, I know you didn't achieve your dream of becoming an AFL player, but to some extent, you'd kind of, within yourself, like the athletic side of things is something you're good at if you put I just spat everywhere, if you put your mind to it. Yeah. Versus growing up, you didn't finish high school, you had dyslexia, learning disability, and you had insecurities about like the academic side of stuff. Yeah. So for you, like, I'm sure the temptation would have been there to like prove to yourself that you can push through the barrier and achieve something in something that was previously a weakness for you. Yeah. So is that part of why maybe you were like, hang on, maybe I've got to sniff at doing this. This is actually more fulfilling to me than going to, play a few more years at East Freo. Yeah, definitely. And it just sort of stemmed from all my mates were at uni. Yeah, and I could see like the benefit of uni. I don't think at that stage when I was first looking at going to uni, I don't think I ever had like the foresight to see the benefits outside of uni. So to see myself 3 years removed from uni, I never looked at that. And I've always been like that. I've always been short-sighted in the sense of like, if I have a goal, I really just like obsess over this short goal, which like might take 3 years max. But like it'll just be this short little goal that I put all my energy and passion into, and that's why I have these
in my life I've had these moments of like just absolute despair when I complete the goal, because I never pictured beyond it. So then I've had like twice in my life I've had these moments of like just complete despair where it's like I generally have no idea what I'm doing now, because the thing that I just invested all my time and energy in has just finished.
It's done.
And now I have nothing.
Yeah.
And so I think that's just always been the way that I am, and it's not like a thing that I've like taught myself. It's just like I just what my brain is like. It finds a goal and it just obsesses over the goal, and like this is now my new thing and this is what I'm going to do. So when I was like hanging around guys who were like going to uni, and again, this is the point as to why you should hang around people that inspire you, not people that drag you down. But I was hanging around guys that were going to uni and they were doing well, and like I could see they were doing well. And so I was asking them a lot of questions about the degree, like, well, like, so what did you do today? Like, what's your unit like? How's it structured? I was just very interested in the whole scene of university and then the structure of it all.
Do you know what I think is a very fair question? Do you think if you had 5 best friends who were all tradies, do you think you would have gone to uni?
I wouldn't have been exposed to it, so probably not.
Yeah.
I need to be exposed to things to sort of like get a taste of it. If I was never exposed to it...
When you think about the power of that, like what you just said, like if you had 5 different friends, your life would be completely different.
Yeah. Or if my 5 best friends were footy boys from the get-go, where would I be? Yeah, it's no.
I mean, you've moved in with me and now you're all over YouTube.
Yeah.
it happens like that.
It definitely does. Yeah, so it is like super, super important to really pick your friends well and put yourself around people that inspire you. But yeah, it was just a thing of like, I saw my mates doing it and saw the fulfillment that they were getting out of it. And football was great, but they're like, I just needed something else. And I just felt like within myself, I was like, I just feel like I can. And it wasn't a big deal, because first I was just going into a bridging course. So a 6-month bridging course. So at first it was like, do you reckon I could get through a bridging course? And all the bridging course was like year 11 and 12 content. It wasn't anything beyond that.
Yeah.
So I was like, I think I was like 21 at that stage, 21-ish. And I was just like, I feel like I want to give this a go. I feel like this is going to be something that I'm going to like... Had no idea whether I was going to be successful or not. No, it could have been a complete flop. But it was just something that I was willing to like just invest in and just like give it a go and work hard and like that be my new thing. And so like, yeah, pretty much as soon as I started that, things really started to like change a lot. Started to like really just enjoy the fact that I was like had a new thing that was achievable. Like there's an end date with university. It's not like playing football where like your chance may never come. If you sign up for a degree and your degree is 3 years, unless you fail a bunch of units, your goal is in 3 years.
Yeah,
there's a set date to when you're going to achieve your goal.
It's not as competitive, I guess. Like with football, I guess there's always going to be a guy whose spot you're competing with. But
sure.
It's just between you and your brain and the content of an exam that makes it different. Yeah.
So I just like it just started with that, and it started with like a phone call to my parents, and this is where like I'm sort of, it's rough to say and it sounds a lot worse than what it was, but my parents coming from a very loving perspective, and I understand that because I went through school and they knew what school was like for me, and I really struggled through school. Yeah. So when I first called him and asked him about it, my dad was the first one that was like completely against it, really wasn't keen for it at all.
You going to uni?
Yes, yeah. So the idea of me going to uni, they didn't like the idea of. My dad was kind of worried. He thought that I was throwing away my trade because I was a tradesman by that point, to go to uni, and he thought it was more because like I was following my friends and like and
you wanted a lifestyle maybe.
And like I didn't want to work anymore, and I was just doing it just for like an easy cop out. Right. But to me, it really was like this was like a new challenge. That
it's
I was
quite opposite to most people. People like, or at least like for my family, would be like, "You're definitely going to uni. Don't be a slack ass." And it's like, "Oh, you just want to cop out and go to uni." Yeah, it's quite opposite of like a lot of people.
Yeah. And then so that was the start of it. That was where like the fire sort of burnt, and from that point, my competitive kicked in, and I just liked the back against the wall feeling when like someone says that you can't or you have minimal people on your side towards something. It really that's what I really feed off. So at first I said to him, fair enough, like I'll call you in a month, and if I still want to do it in 4 weeks, can we at least have a chat about it? And they're like, sure, fine. So then I sat on it for 4 weeks and didn't stop thinking about it. It was all that was running through my mind was that. And the more I thought about it, the more I got annoyed about it, the more I got pissed off about it, the more that it sort of became a game of like me versus them. Like they're now not on my team anymore. And then so when I called them and they were still against it, I was like, I wasn't like aggressive, I wasn't angry or anything, but I was very stern in saying that I'm not expecting you to do anything. And I literally said, I'm not expecting you to do anything, Centrelink, all that kind of stuff. I'll figure out how I'm going to live here and how I'm going to do it. I'll support myself in my way. Like, I'll do it. All you have to do is in 3 years from now, or it was like 3.5 years, 3.5 years from now, you have to sit at my graduation and you have to look me in the eye and you have to say that you did this, that like no one did this for you, like Dylan, you did this. And like, and just admit that like, this is the one thing that like I've done for myself. No one can take it away from me. No one can say that like, oh, they helped you or they helped you. Like, I've done this for myself and I've done it against you guys. And they were like, yeah, sure. All right, fine. And then, so that was again the start of it. And so now it was this game of just like, I hung up the phone and I immediately set 2 goals. My first goal was I would never fail a unit. And my next goal was that I didn't care where I started. All I cared about was every semester my average grade would go up. And there was no if, buts or maybes. Those things were just set in concrete.
Yeah, non-negotiable.
And there was times where I had been up for 18 hours straight doing an assignment just to get it in on time.
Yuck.
Like, there were times where like I didn't sleep the night before an exam just because I felt like I could be a little bit more prepared. And like, since doing all this stuff, it's funny, but since doing all this stuff, I've found that like, not to blow smoke off my ass, but I've sort of like, I've forged a path of people to follow, because before that I didn't know many people that did it the way I did it. I didn't know many people that sort of like, again, like, and I'm not talking about like, oh, just being mature age, like, look, people do that. Shut up, get off your horse. This is what I mean. What I mean is a person who has dyslexia, a person who struggled through school. From year 2 onwards, I went to a tutor. I was like, and I joke about it, but it literally took me a year and I was behind already. Like, as far as school goes, I did year 1, come into year 2, and the teacher goes, "He's really behind." Like, motherfucker, it's been a year. Like, how am I so behind already? Like, what have I missed in a year that other kids have picked up on? Somehow it fucking happened though. Somehow it happened. So like, and not like, unless you've been through it, you can't understand. Unless you've been through what happened, you can't, like, there's nothing you can compare it to, because there's so many things that I struggled with that you just took for granted. There's so many times where you get called up in front of a class to read, and I can't even fucking read the first word.
And your skin gets hot and you start
I start to just like freak out. Or there's so many times where, just things like that, and just like embarrassing moments that kill you as a kid, because like, and because at school, like, when you're that age, school is like your whole world. It's like anything outside of that school environment is like redundant to you. You do not care one bit.
Yeah.
Being popular and being liked and like, just all you want to be is like normal. You just want to be like the other kids. So I was gifted sort of sports wise, which is what helped me get through school. It's why I didn't get bullied. It's why I didn't get teased. It's because I was like, I used to win the running races. I was a good footballer. I was a good basketballer. So luckily those things helped me through it. But that's only 2 times a week that you get to go do sport. So there's so much portion of the day that I'm just battling, struggling, and like just wanting to know it, like wanting to understand, can't. Like, when I used to come home, I used to do homework with my dad, and my dad used to get really frustrated with me just because I would struggle so much with like just reading at home. And he used to always tell me, like, because he could see the focus that I had for sport, but then he would see me struggle with this, and I just obviously wouldn't have the same interest level. And so he used to say, like, you're not trying, like just try. Imagine like this is like sport. If you try like sport, you would do it. And so like I got that a lot of my school life. Then after year 7, I got diagnosed with dyslexia, and my dad was like distraught. Like,
oh, really?
Yeah, was so upset with himself, and like was telling my mum, like, I spent 7 years telling him he wasn't trying. Like I feel terrible. Like I feel like the worst father in the world. Like I can't believe that I made my son feel that way when he has this. Like,
your dad's a bit of a sweetheart.
He is a real sweetheart. Yeah, he's quite like, he's obviously a man. He's a man, and he's like an alpha, but he is very sensitive and very soft in those ways.
Yeah.
So just like when I say no one's done it like I have, I don't think anyone is like gone through those things. And I'm talking from year 1 up until uni, that whole journey for me, and then gone and done it, and not only done it but not failed a unit. Every semester my scores went up. Like, And I think that, in a sense, inspires a lot of people, because I do get a lot of people that ask me about bridging courses. I do get a lot of messages from people asking, like, hey, mate, like...
Yeah, there must be, like, a strong Jolton contingent, right, who maybe didn't have dyslexia, but probably uni wasn't the common thing. And that's the same in Bunbury, where I'm from. It wasn't a given that you go to uni, whereas maybe for Perth kids, most kids do go to uni.
Yeah.
So you probably do get a lot of Jolton kids who are like, even if they, didn't have a learning disability, like, nah, I won't go to uni.
Yeah.
Who hit you up?
Yes.
So
yes,
that's
100%. Yeah.
Right,
all Jolton kids.
Yeah.
And also, like, in Jolton, there's not that many... I mean, it's probably different now, but I dare say that when I was a kid, not many of my friends' parents went to uni.
Yeah.
There wasn't a strong sort of...
Well, there's no unis in Jolton, right?
So there's one, but I think it came later. But
okay.
There just wasn't, like, a big push for education in terms of, like, beyond high school.
Yeah, fair enough.
The sort of standard was like, you just finish high school, and even still, like, a lot of parents would push their kids out of high school if they felt like a trade was going to benefit it better. Jolton's just got that scene, like it's more normal to, like, finish school, especially as a boy, leave school early, go get a trade, start work, like that's it's sort of like had a old school mentality in that sense. I would say that's different to maybe Perth around that same time. But definitely had a lot of, like, other Jolton kids that hit me up and asked me about it, and I was real honest with them, and I do enjoy people coming to me with those things, because I like sort of guiding people, and I like telling people what I wish I knew, and what I wish if I had someone that I could say, like, how did you do this? I wish I had that, but I didn't really know anybody like that, so I just sort of did it myself and just sort of battled through. And luckily I had friends that were at uni, so, like, they helped me get in, like, good routines, like going with Abacus, going to the library with you, studying late nights. Like, if I didn't have people doing that kind of thing, then I wouldn't know that that's what you do. So I was lucky in that sense, but I can't even remember what the question was. I've gone on a massive tangent of it all.
What would the 16-year-olds
Yeah, I guess to get back to the question, I feel like, I don't know about you, but, like, I guess you would say the same thing, but I just feel like I'm very vastly different to the 16-year-old self. I don't think 16-year-old me is anything like what I am today. Yeah. I think I've had a lot of personal growth.
Definitely. You've completely changed.
Yeah.
Even since I've met you. I think you, without getting lame, I think you have a lot to be proud of in terms of, I remember when I met you just before you started uni. Yeah. And when you were starting the bridging course, and I remember sitting with you at the Abacus. The Abacus is the lab at Curtin.
Yeah. Computer lab.
And I remember, and this is not, like, taken away from you at all, but I remember I would show you something on my computer screen, and you would look at it, and it would just take you quite a lot longer to read it. Like, it'd be a funny meme or something.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, this guy actually, not this guy, but, like, I could see, like, visually for the first time, like, how hard it must be for you to do that. Mm-hmm. So to get through not only the bridging course and then finish a property degree, which is, I think property's top 3 most difficult commerce degrees, or majors rather, at the university.
Yeah.
It's a massive credit to yourself. So, I mean, yeah, like I said, I think you have a lot to be proud of, man. And proud of you.
Yeah, and it's funny because 16-year-old me, my goals are very different to what I am now. And I guess if you told 16-year-old me and you said, lay your goals out and I'll tell you if you passed or failed them, and I went through and failed them, I don't think that reflects the amount that I feel like I have achieved sitting here now.
Yeah, it doesn't.
So my goals have completely changed.
Yeah.
You'd
be like, get drafted, slap 100 bitches' cheeks. Sorry.
So yeah, I think it's weird like that, the amount that's changed. But also I think that's what happens, and that's what you deserve when you put yourself out on a limb like that. When you really challenge yourself in that sense, when you like going to university at that time was taking every one of my weaknesses and just like putting them on display and like just throwing them on a platter and saying like, now you do this.
It would probably be like me trying to become a carpenter because I'm quite weak at technical knowledge and stuff like that. It would like the inverse opposite of each other in that sense. Like if I try to do a trade, it would probably be maybe not equally hard. I don't know, I'm a learning disability, but it would give me a lot of anxiety, I'm sure. So.
And to be honest, since doing that, I feel like I've sort of conquered the whole dyslexic thing.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't, in the same way that like I just described that time, early on when you read the screen and it took you a lot longer. I don't think you do that anymore, do you? I've never seen that to you.
Nah.
Yeah.
Nah. And I actually, funny enough, like 2 days ago, there was a video on, it was Facebook, Instagram, a social media platform.
Yeah.
And basically it was talking about how people can read like 150 words a minute, I believe it was.
Right.
And what it was a video and the words would flash.
Wow.
And basically what it was saying was like, as the words were flashing, it would say like scientists have recorded that a human brain is capable of reading 150 words a minute. To prove that, you are reading at 150 words a minute right now in this video.
Oh, wow, cool.
And then it switches and it goes, if you can read this, you're now reading 250 words a minute.
Yeah.
And I was reading it like as it was happening.
Cool.
And that was like a cool moment because I was like, just sort of prove to myself, like if I really want to, like I can read on par with everyone else. Like it's I've just practiced it so much, and that was also my mentality towards it. Was like I just thought, if I like got a football and I went out to the park and I kicked set shots for 6 hours a day, 3 days a week for 4 years, at the end of that 4 years, you would imagine that person is very good at goal kicking. And I was like, why can't I go to university? I practice this reading, these writing, like I practice those skills. And why in 3 years, why can't I be better? Like, why can't I have improved? And so that was just like my thought process behind it. And I was just like, the only thing that's going to help me is practice. And so I'll just practice. The easiest way to practice is to like go to university, just throw myself in this and just work hard and practice and treat it like practice. Every lecture was like practice. And that was the way I motivated myself. It wasn't like going to uni like a drag. It was like, this is practice towards like a bigger goal, which was feeling confident and comfortable in eventually like just, I don't know, the simple skills, but I just wanted to be able to do them better.
I think it's a really positive example for other people, whether they have a learning disability or not, to stick it out and throw everything at something, because people are capable of more than they realise as well.
Yeah. And it's only you that's going to stop it, to be honest.
Yeah.
But yeah, actually, the point that I was wanted to make before was if you, again, like go back to like 16-year-old me, the goals that I have now, had then are completely irrelevant to right now. And a big reason why I know that the path that I chose was better was because I also understand my limitations as a footballer.
Okay.
So I was never going to be a Brownlow medalist. I was never going to be an All-Australian. What I was going to be was one of those fringe players. I might have got 30 games in. I might have got 10 games in. I wasn't going to be a massive star, I don't think. Like, I look back now and I just don't think I had the skill set. I think I was like lacking a lot of attributes, maybe like a bit of size, a bit of height, all that kind of stuff. So would my life have been better doing that compared to switching lanes and realising it earlier and not getting down the track of being like, say, coming out of the AFL system, being spit out at 26, 25 and not having anything? At least now I'm 26, 25, I have a chartered degree, I got a grad job and I look like I have a promising career. What would I rather? I feel like I would rather do what I do now. I feel like I'd rather have that and have a career now where my future seems bright. My future is as far as I want to take it. If I want to really invest and strive to be like a property mogul, if I really want to like put myself in that category, I feel I have the skills, or I'm on the pathway now where that can be achieved. To come out as a fringe player, like Dylan Buckley sort of mentions in one of his podcasts.
Yeah, less clogger even.
Yeah, I just don't think that's a great thing. I don't know I don't want to be in that position. I don't want to be in that situation. I think that's the situation that I would have been in if I went down that path.
The other side of that is you probably realise that at a good time, because I don't know about you, but I think if you had gone straight into a property degree, you'd probably always have this nagging sensation of what would have happened if I had thrown everything at footy.
Yeah.
You gave it just enough time to realise that you were done.
Yeah.
You know, you hit that point at 22. I remember having conversations with you. I was like, just switch to another club, come to Perth, because I'm a Perth fan. But you did just enough to know that that wasn't for you.
Yeah.
And like you said, you don't have any regrets.
No.
Whereas if you had tried it maybe 19, 20, never given footy a real crack, you'd probably be thinking, maybe if I'd given it a crack, I would have done it. And
Yeah. And I think that's where people obviously make the mistakes. And also because you recall even like for like examples such as relationships, you will always recall on a relationship much more fondly than what it was when you were actually in that environment. When you were in that situation, you will always recall on it years past more fondly than what it was in that moment.
Yeah.
So I think that's what happened with people is that I did enough to sort of like know like, right, yeah, I'm definitely not good enough for this shit. I remember like a big turning point was when Aaron Black won the Sandover medal.
Okay.
And he won it at 21 years old for West Perth.
And you were
didn't
older?
get no, same age.
Okay.
But didn't get picked up.
Right.
And no club looked at him. And I remember watching him play.
There's a lot of waffle players like that.
I remember watching him play, and he was a winger, so that was my position. I remember watching him play, and I was just like, mate, if I could play at this level, I'd be so happy.
Yeah.
If I could play at that level right there, I'd be so happy. He won the Sandover, and I was like, oh my God, this guy's going to get drafted. Didn't get drafted, and then that was just when the penny dropped, and I was like, fuck this. Like, why are we all out here slaving away, doing like, and if you can, go to like some waffle trainings and actually see what they do. Spend some time out there, because those dudes do everything that an AFL team do. They sacrifice everything that AFL guys sacrifice. Yeah, they don't get paid. Yeah, they don't get recognition. Like, it is just a rough gig being in that field. Like in that gig it's tough. It's tough. Like you put yourself in like physical agony, training and doing all this stuff, and then like sometimes it just makes you think like, for what? Like where there's no real like long-term personal gain. At least if you go to AFL and you sort of do it and you can make enough of a name that when you come out you're recognisable. That way you can then build a career off it. You might be able to go into media.
Yeah.
You might be able to like do what Aaron Sellers did and start a lawn mowing, and then people in Fremantle want to use Aaron Sellers because it's fucking Aaron Sellers.
I was going to say you could go into real estate and people would
sell the house. Or like,
exactly. Yeah.
Like if you can do that then and you can transition it, then that's a smart move. And then that becomes like a business move.
Yeah.
But like other than that, just being a waffle dude, like you still sacrifice everything that they do, but there's no pay. There's no like real personal benefit from building a brand.
For legacy, really.
Yeah.
Like your own legacy. And some people, that's more important to them than others. You know?
Yeah, I suppose. I just see it short-lived though.
Fair enough. Yeah.
I see it short-lived. That's like to be done at 30, like just seems tough. Like I'm still working on my legacy, and I'll be working on my legacy long after 30. And that was like more important to me, I suppose, was that.
Yeah. I have two questions before we wrap up. First of all, to what extent do you consider yourself a successful person?
I consider myself a successful person because like my only competitor is myself, and that's
a draw then.
yeah. I always win, I guess. But that comes as a complete. It's really good, so it's a pro, and it's also a con in a lot of senses. It's a pro because when I'm in environments where I'm not the best, like going to university and struggling through that, I never held myself to the standard of anyone else. I was like just within myself, and I had my own little goals, and that was like, it's a perfect situation to be in when it's like it's just you and you're working through it and you're doing your things. But then it's also probably like a bit of a con, like in terms of like, I have a bit of insecurity at the moment about my body. Like I'm not in great shape, what I would call great shape, 15% body fat, like this kind of stuff. Some people would probably give a lot to have my body right now as we stand. There's people with like thyroid issues that like can't lose weight because of the thyroid.
Yeah.
There's there's people that maybe don't have like aren't as athletic as what I am. There's people maybe aren't as coordinated as I am. And here I am bagging myself out, not happy within myself. But to other people, they would probably trade me any day of the week. So yeah, it's when you say success, like I consider myself successful, and I consider myself not successful because I generally think that in the next 10 years I'll be much more successful than what I am now. But I also think that what I've done up to this stage I am proud of, and that there's things that I can hang my hat on that I can really, I guess, take pride in. So the journey is not over, but I am happy with what I've done so far. But I'm still not satisfied, I suppose.
So building on that, we talked about the difference between 16 and 26. Where do you want to be at 36? Is there anything in particular that you want to achieve?
I think there definitely is. I think a family by then would be nice.
Okay.
I think I'd like
that makes sense, yeah.
I'd like to transition into that. Obviously need to like find a girl and have a wife and like all that kind of things first. You can't just like I can't
manufacture a family.
Maybe myself. But
Believe me, I've tried.
I think that would be good because I had a really great role model for a father. I had like a really good dad. So, and when it comes down to legacy, that's another big thing that I hold is like repeating that. So having children again and being the exact same figure and being the exact same role model to those children and going through all those struggles that my dad went through to then again have kids that can come out at 26 and then look at me at the same light that I look at my dad, because I didn't appreciate him for a long time, and every kid can attest to that. You don't appreciate your parents until you get to a certain age. Until you hit real independence is when you start looking at it and you start to realize how much of a struggle, not a struggle, but life is tough. Just upholding a household. I mean, it's just me and you here, and like keeping this house clean,
these plants,
making sure that like cooking each night, doing all those things. I never appreciated when my mum was doing that. I never appreciated when my dad was working 12 hours a day to fund all this stuff as well. I would like to have that because I want to complete the circle of life again. I want to go through that, and I'd be completely fine with my kids hating me for the first 16 years, and then to see them come out the other end, and hopefully I've raised like young people that are proud and that are respectful and that like look at me exactly the same way that my dad does. But then I also just want to be more secure. I want to be more like professionally secure. Yeah. I would love to have another 10 years under my belt at what I do and like be confident in what I'm doing and be better than what I am now. Mm-hmm. I think from 16 to 26, there was a lot of materialistic things that I wanted. And now from 26 to 36, there's a lot of like emotional things that I want, or emotional things that I need. Yeah. I need a family. I need to feel like I want to be more confident in my job. And it's more things like that I look at. I would love to be more like emotionally developed again. Like I just feel like emotional development is a huge thing. Yeah. And it goes hand in hand with mental development. So I want to develop those further. I think emotionally and mentally is more the growth that I'm chasing these days. Yeah. That's cool, man. I like it. But I've completely stolen the mic. That's okay. Is there anything that you want to fit in while we can? Not really. I've been low-key fuck-eyed. So I'm glad you've taken center stage in this podcast. No, it's good. It's good. I didn't want to interrupt you when you were going well. I think you spoke a lot about it, about a lot of interesting things, and I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who can relate, who are maybe insecure about their experience at school or whatever, and not sure what they want to do with their life, but hearing about someone who probably didn't have advantages in terms of being gifted academically to achieving what you have now. I think it's cool for a lot of people to hear that. So yeah, and that's all I can really preach is, to be honest, like even if there is like a small part of you that has always thought about it, I just feel like just jump into it. And don't get me wrong, it's not easy. Like it is a hard thing. Like going from a trade where carpentry is a really physical trade to then going at university. I worked 10 times harder at university. Yeah. I did 10 times the hours. Like I said, like there was a night and Will Joyce was actually there with me in the library. He like fell asleep, went to sleep on the couch because he got to live with me, and like I stayed all night doing this thing. But I spent 18 hours straight working on an assignment. That's disgusting. So I started it at 8:00 in the morning on one day, and I went through and I submitted at 5:30 in the morning the next day. And it was just because like I just had to, and like it was a really important assignment. I wanted a really good mark because I was sort of like I was in my third year, so like what I needed for scores to complete my goal, which was like improve every semester. And there's moments like that define like, and when I think about uni, it's funny because I go back and I remember those moments way more than I remember any other moment. I remember those like hard slugs, and I remember the satisfaction I got when I submitted it, and I remember the satisfaction I got when I got a good score back. Did you say slug? Yeah, it's cool. It's slog, but continue. Oh, is it? It is too. I remember there's hard slugs. Hard slog. We'll edit that out. It's like a penis. Sorry, yeah, hard slogs. And yeah, so if you're gonna do it, but like do it for no other reason and I guess just be prepared that's what comes with it. And like if you're gonna challenge yourself and you're gonna put yourself in these situations, you need to be okay, and you need to be I guess just like happy to go through those moments and to like have those. They suck. Like it really does fucking suck. But you sit back later and you just appreciate it so much more because like you did that and you put yourself through that.
Yeah. I think one piece of advice that sort of stays with me, I think I heard it from Young Druzy actually, that I think is really pertinent is choose your hard. So going through uni, putting in the hard slugs, and to achieve your dreams, that's really hard. But sitting back and doing nothing, not doing what you want to do, maybe choosing a life that's a bit El Stanko, maybe continue doing a trade which you don't have passion for.
Yeah.
That's also hard. Most things in life are hard. Just choose the right hard, so to speak. So, I think that's good advice.
That is good.
Yeah.
So, to cap off the same way that one of my favourite YouTubers at the moment does, thank you for listening to the video.
It's my first time on live television before.
Take out of that what you will.
Yeah.
That's good. But, yeah.
Good content.
A bit of an intimate one today.
It was, yeah. I think they've mostly all been intimate.
They have a little bit.
Maybe out of 10, we've probably done like 7 or 8 intimate ones.
Yeah,
so to speak. So,
but I'm all about it. Just especially while you're young, give it a go, give it a crack.
Yeah.
But give it a crack properly, and that's the other thing as well. You know deep down whether you're trying your hardest.
Yeah.
Because you can say it out loud. You can say that like I tried my hardest.
Yeah.
And you can say like why'd you fail that unit? I don't know. I tried my hardest. But deep down within yourself, if you actually check yourself and if you actually have quiet moments to yourself to reflect, like did you? Like did you actually? Because I set up 18 hours to do it, and that was my absolute best. I was depleted after I did that, and that was me trying my best.
Yeah.
I think every person has that within them. It's just like, are you gonna do it? And that's nothing but just like willpower. That's not doesn't take any sort of skill. That just takes you just sitting there and doing it and not stopping.
Self-aware and honesty.
Yeah, and just committing to it and just like I set this as a goal and I said I was going to do this. Like this is the moment that's going to define it. And like if I have to be up for 18 hours straight doing an assignment, like I just have to do it.
Yeah.
There's no other turn. It's like it's a straight road. There's no quitting turn off. There's no left or right that you can do. Like you're on a road and you're going straight and that's it. So
well,
thanks for listening.
Spitting bars today.
Sorry for chewing your ear off, but
no, it's alright. No, it's alright. It's only a normal, usual runtime, so we're good. Yeah.
So
you can find us on Spotify and iTunes, I believe. I'm pretty sure you can.
I think so.
So if you're watching on YouTube, and likewise, if you prefer to watch a podcast and you're listening to it right now, you can find us on YouTube, Coulworld. So yeah,
hit us up. Have a listen. We'll see you next time.
Yeah, chuck some comments in. Oh, shout out to Alice.
Yes.
Who commented algorithm last time, which was sweet. Alice joined. She took part of that live stream, the grand final live stream, the infamous one. And then she subscribed to both this and Coulworld as well, and has been a great supporter. Writes some nice comments. So appreciate you, Alice. Thank you very much.
Keep commenting. It always helps the algorithm.
Yeah, it really does. Yeah, thanks. Cool.
But thank you. Appreciate it.
See you guys.